Okay, Into the Sun. The movie is just filled with the spirit of Japan and deep respect for the ancient and rich culture of this country.
Who is she? You guys really eat this crap?
Sakura, kimono and traditional dances? Check. Godzilla? Here it is. Bonsai?
Absolutely.
On the downside though, half of the movie is in Japanese, and without subtitles some moments can become a little bit boring. Also, this is one of a few movies where we have no opportunity to watch Steven Seagal hanging in a strip club. But I'll tell you this. I was in luck today, as something unexpected happened when I was watching about half of the movie, and this surprise spiced up the boredom. At first I thought about making a video about a different flick, but the moment I laid eyes on this poster, this astonishing gun, this amazing kick on the Blu-ray cover, I just couldn't miss it. So the movie kicks off with Steven Seagal and his buddy using an electronic binocular and even a satellite to spy on some Asian girls. And when two young guys prevent one of the girls to lift her skirt right in front of him, he explodes in anger and grabs an AK-47 conveniently lying at his feet. Due to his choice of using a loud weapon instead of quietly taking care of both of them using his Aikido, or at least his silenced rifle, since it worked fine for the first guy, all the local residents gather at the commotion. So now Seagal and his partner have no choice but to make a run for dear life in a conveniently arrived helicopter. And I really hope this scene is incredibly important for the movie because, well, it's just terrible.
You're alright. Not dying, man. You're alright.
We're moving to Japan, a country of new technologies, such as graphics, lines, all this stuff. The graphics were only enough for cityscape scenes, leaving the governor no choice but to deliver his speeches against a backdrop of cheesy 2D effects. As often happens in such cases, he gets an accident bullet straight to the forehead, while motorcycle hooligans race around the building, showing off in front of every available camera. Steven Seagal squeezes into the frame. Actually, he doesn't look that fat here, I must say. Yes, there is still a long way to go before reaching an action star shape, and the second chin reveals a hint of grumpiness. But overall, that's not a bad physique for our Aikido master. Bro, you're not slim enough to fit in the reflection of a sword. This is why Seagal moves into the room with a bigger mirror. Only now he can admire his reflection with all seriousness. Then the FBI chief invites Seafood to his office to assign him the task of investigating the murder of Governor. But since no one has the right to give orders to the action movie star in his films, the chief has to slightly indulge Steven Seagal.
Nobody knows the bad guys like you do.
That's why I brought you in, Big Papa. You in, Big Papa.
Well, after being called Big Papa, Seagal is ready to go along with anything, even having some young, handsome boy as his partner.
This is Agent Mac.
Then again, perhaps he agreed simply because Big Papa and Mac make an excellent pairing. And Seagal has enough evidence, with just a simple trinket, to wrap up the investigation even without Mac's help. So now the boy can be safely burdened with the useless tasks.
Can you give me a copy of this?
Yeah, sure thing.
The only copy that would be useful to Seafood is of his own. His doubles are too noticeable, and it's too exhausting to walk all the way to the nearest chair by himself.
You look younger and taller.
That's because it's also a double. I can see it even from behind. And this is a Seafood of the Seafood. Despite living in the same city, Penguin paid a visit to his old teacher for the first time in many years. And that was only so that he could send his teacher to run errands for him, gathering some information about Yakuza. Also, of course, to receive compliments about his increasing height and to touch a girl who is 3 times younger than him.
Now she's yours.
Okay. Nobody knows what we do, and that's better. Play a role for me. You're my martial arts student.
Crafting a cover story just 5 minutes before the arrival, the Big Mac team easily gets into an exclusive party of some big shots. The Penguin sits right next to the top big shot, and they have a sweet conversation in Japanese.
If it's okay, I wanted to ask you a couple of questions.
Who's there? Probably just the wind.
Then it turns out that the goofball forgot to switch off his cell phone, and despite the brilliant planning of the brilliant legend, it collapses like a house of cards with the very first question.
His student, what have you studied?
Although, of course, nobody gives a damn about it. The Aikido master moves to a new chair and awkwardly tries to make a move on a freshman girl right in front of a jealous janitor.
Ayako-san, you look so beautiful today.
壁に耳あるよ。
Yeah, I know.
でも会えて嬉しい。
In addition to this cringe, Steven also demands that the girl does his job for him.
I wanted to see if you could get any information on the assassination of the governor.
This time, for some reason, their conversation switches from English to Japanese with each line. And I kinda understand what they are saying, and at the same time I don't.
彼もきっとあなたに会えたら喜ぶと思うわ。
So, I love you. You'd be good.
What I can say for sure is that the old penguin definitely knows the way to the hearts of young girls. Occupied!
I've just one question, come on.
What is just one question? Huh? Probably just my imagination playing tricks.
Bruh.
Oh, were you hiding in the shadow? How didn't I notice you?
No, I don't know. Listen, why are you being so harsh on penguins?
Oh, well, I guess I...
Do I really look like Steven Seagal to you? Come on!
Well, I heard you. No problem, I get it. Okay.
For real, bro?
No more penguin jokes.
Make some jokes about seagulls instead or something.
Nah, making fun of someone's last name, that's dumb.
Nah, anyway, we were...
So Seagal walked into this, what's that, restaurant?
Where is he?
He's leaving Fusion.
What's a fusion?
Fusion's Naiko's club.
Anyway, there he tries to seduce a girl 3 times younger than him, as always.
Oh yeah, she's supposed to be his fiancée or something. It becomes clear later on.
You've already watched Into the Sun?
I've watched all Steven Seagal's movies.
Why?
It was a long time ago and I hardly remember anything anyway.
So after visiting the first restaurant, the Big Mac team heads to another, simpler one. And their Mac showcases the mind-boggling level of stupidity.
Two cervezas, por favor. Muchas gracias.
How did he manage to live there before meeting Sensei?
Before meeting Sensei? That wasn't living.
I'm confused. Why you take me to all these places?
This is my neighborhood. I grew up here. That's the truth. No bullshit.
While they enjoy beer in the pub where Steven Seagal grew up, a bunch of hooligans begin pelting them with stones.
Perfect example. Our little Yakuza friend is back.
Which means that it's finally time to unleash the arsenal of Aikido moves and start pushing those misfits onto people's counters. What is this again? Where's the real fight?
If you want to fight, come back in 10 years.
Bullshit, bro. In 10 years there will be a movie called Absolution where he doesn't even sway hands without a stunt double.
You don't have to call me bro, your name's Alex.
Yeah, Donnie. Nice to meet you.
Likewise. After Steven demolished stalls of peaceful traders, he goes into a rage when Mark accidentally shoots the ground.
Please tell me you're kidding. You didn't. My bad. Are you out of your mind?
I got excited.
You got excited? I've never seen or heard of such a thing.
That's what she said!
Before we move on, I want to take a moment to express how thrilled I was to receive a super thanks from OldGamer4845. Thanks, bro. And then I thought, why not open up a membership option for those who want and are able to support. I've been posting rough drafts of upcoming videos for a while, but keep them unlisted, as they are like demos to check for any potential claims from YouTube and stuff. So why not make them available for members? These are unrefined drafts, but they are uncut and offer a much early access to videos.
A quick commercial break, huh?
God, he's fast.
So Mark is so impressed by Steven's ability to handle people that he immediately heads to the boss's office to share how awesome the master of Aikido is. But since the boss is already well informed about that, he swiftly shifts the conversation towards the boring threats of bandits.
We'll continue to use force until our demands are met.
You're clearly moving in the wrong direction.
And even dim-witted Mark realizes that it is incredibly stupid.
Meanwhile, Seagal heads to yet another establishment. Using just a couple of words in Japanese, he easily makes the tattoo master leave his client lying on the floor alongside in the front desk. Their discussion is yet another example of language mishmash.
My Nayako, I've heard a lot about you. She says you know a lot about the Yakuza.
How convenient. Everyone around seems to be knowledgeable about the Yakuza.
Except for Steven, though.
Yeah, he is the only one who knows nothing in the exact field, where, as per agency boss, he was supposed to be a mind-blowing expert.
That's why I brought you in, Big Papa.
Steven demands that tattoo artist immediately abandon his tasks and quickly sets up a meeting for him with one of the mafia bosses.
Is there any way you could maybe get me a meeting with him?
So, you're saying you could resist and turn down this enchanting guy?
He wouldn't have to ask me twice. Therefore, the master grabs his servant, Mac, and they head out to a restaurant to satisfy their appetites.
Everyone is always thrilled to see Steven.
He's definitely not an FBI agent.
Definitely not.
Tell me about your boss in there.
Agent Mac as well. He looks more like an apprentice of some great master.
Mac looks a bit like an FBI agent. He doesn't have an FBI badge around his neck, but still is kinda suspicious.
Is that why he gets shamefully kicked out of the restaurant? And who's this girl with the camera?
Don't pay attention to her. She appears only to walk in a bathrobe in front of Seagal somewhere later.
Steven graciously receives an audience with the mafia boss. And for now we can comfortably lean back in our chairs, listen to the sound of Japanese language.
Ma. Ma. Ma.
During the conversation, the Aikido master plays on the emotional strings of the mafia boss. By the way, did you notice how he is unable to hide his feelings towards some characters in the movies? Like in Shadow Man, right from the beginning, he looks at his daughter's grandpa with contempt.
Bro, the guy was threatening the sensei with a gun at the end.
Yeah.
Why in hell would Steven be happy about him?
Or here, the deepest respect for the ruthless criminal.
This person is a man of honor, like Steven Seagal himself, and they clearly enjoy each other's company.
When he gets home, Steven tries to see his reflection in a potato peeler. And you might think that since Section Star gives money to this teenage girl, they have strictly business relations. But no. Like Tony said, this girl is neither a sex worker, neither his granddaughter.
Doesn't she look to you like his alleged girlfriend? Soon to be a bride?
No need to spell it out, it's crystal clear. Just look at the chemistry between those two loving hearts. In a romantic excitement, the young couple travels back in time, where Steven instantly finds a place to sit.
Let's sit here. Come, sit. I've never had the best luck with women.
Uh-oh. These are the kinds of words that often kick off videos about men who were catfished and scammed for astonishingly huge amounts of money.
For the first time in my life, I found somebody that I really love.
I found a dating site for Slavic women. I met somebody there. To talk to them on that site, you have to buy credits.
Brian spent well over $100,000 buying the tokens through Rendezvous to continue to chat with Anastasia.
You could show some joy for the young couple.
Why should I be happy for them? The girl isn't that excited about the prospect of dancing ethnic dances with an old bloated penguin.
Bruh.
Overall, I have to say that all the movie feels like a parade of no-names at this point. A bunch of random guys shooting one another. This lunatic makes his own employee cut off his finger just because the poor guy got hit from Steven. Then he still kills him with a headshot?
If getting hit by Seagal was truly such a wrongdoing, Hollywood wouldn't have any stunt performers left for the action star to collaborate with.
I don't think there are anyone left. Meanwhile, the young groom enjoys a spiritual performance with yet another random young girl. This is good stuff. They found a good Japanese comedian for this movie.
I think they'd better invite Jackie Chan instead of this guy.
What does Jackie Chan have to do with this?
If we are talking about the talented Japanese comedian.
Then a complete stranger begins pestering him with his foolishness cautions.
Kind of a sudden visit, is everything okay?
You've been asking a lot of questions on the street. Now, the street is starting to ask questions about you.
What questions could possibly arise about Seagal?
Well, he is a shadow ninja that nobody knows anything about.
Everybody around knows him extremely well. He can't buy a pack of smokes without running into 9 guys kissing his ass.
Anyway, besides that, he also told Seagal exact location of the bad guys and how to find them.
The Aikido master doesn't give a shit about this shit. He heads to yet another restaurant where his bride is patiently waiting for him, surrounded by naked girls. Well, that's pretty much how your marriage will look like, girl. Steven will enjoy himself with the girls 3 times younger, and you will receive hairbrushes as presents. Think about it. There are plenty of other penguins in the sea.
Bruh, I already have a wife. And also, they were at the same restaurant all this time, just in another room.
How often do you take your wife on a date to a restaurant and flirt with young girls in the next room?
She's my wife, bruh. Why would I date her? What's next? You will expect me to pay for the fish I catch myself? Maybe I should take a fish on dates too?
Women need that, Donnie.
Oh, I didn't realize I was in the presence of Oprah Winfrey. Dr. Phil, since you understand women so well, when was the last time you invited your own wife on a date? Here's an easy question. When was the last time you gave her flowers?
You know we celebrate Women's Day on March 8th? I brought these, for instance.
Did you give your wife a bush as a gift?
It's to my daughter. She asked me for a plant. Now I am the one looking after it.
I live in Antarctica. There are not a lot of flowers here, you know.
Yeah, so... Still get them for your wife?
No.
And here we are, judging Steven Seagal for gifting his fiancée a hairbrush.
3 guys who care a lot about their significant ones looking at each other.
4. Anyway, Mark shows up and tries to get seafood to get off his butt and start doing something other than just wandering around restaurant with random people. But since Steven is not fond of doing his own work, he bluntly takes Mark to take care of the investigation by himself.
You called me, I'm here, I'm busy, I'm in the middle of something.
So Mark heads to the fish market that he identified through the background noise in the bandit's threat records.
What?
That's true, no bullshit. He actually identified the location based on the ambient noise from the record.
Turns out that the tape was made in a fish market, ski jeeps.
We'll continue to use force until our demands are met.
If that woman's voice in the background is saying the name of the market and they still send the record to FBI, these are probably the dumbest criminals I've ever seen in Steven Seagal's movies. And that does speaks volume.
And what does it say that Mark can freely move around in the bandit's hideout? And then he randomly decided to dig into a random trash bin in a random office by pure chance?
In which completely by chance they happened to leave a finger of that thug. Yeah.
And that's when Mark's luck ran out, because at very that moment a pair of thugs decided to drop by to make a few copies.
Next we witness an incredibly dynamic and intense chase.
These guys just simply walk one after another.
Yes, but how dynamic and intense. Eventually Mark casually takes taxi and peacefully drives away. On the way he tells Seagal about the finger and an address of some cafe he found on a bill in a trash bin. In just 2 minutes of the film, the kid dug up more information than Seafood did during his entire wanderings. And what does action star say as a conclusion?
I told you, do not, I told you.
What is wrong with you?
Do not, I told you.
Hey, he himself never listens to the authorities in his own movies.
The rule breakster.
If you get yourself killed on my watch, I'll kill you again.
Nah, no, he won't.
Are you implying that Mark is in deep trouble?
Any doubts? He outshined the movie star, and now his cell phone died while he is on his way to check the address from the trash bin.
There he is once again met by 2 thugs from the fish market, and they take him to meet the mafia bosses.
What the f do you want?
What do you want?
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
In the basement, Mark endures brutal torture. This guy spills worth of tens of thousands of dollars on him, and unable to bear the humiliation, Mark angrily attacks the only person in the room who hasn't done anything to him. So now he has to face the deadly move named Kill Mark. Kill Mark. I should probably feel sorry for this guy, but I don't.
I also don't feel sorry for him.
He had no impact on the plot and didn't pass any information to Steven. And anyway, Seagal doesn't really need it. He already has all the investigation materials displayed on the HD TV with a detailed 3D plan of the criminal's lair. So now he can calmly ride around the city and listen to the shrimp.
Travis, thank you for telling me.
On his way, he stops by the hotel that the guy from the restaurant told him about, and for some reason he swings his sword instead of using his hands or a gun. Suddenly a bonsai tree with an old man appears.
It's our first encounter with him. Very brief one.
Killing random people again. There's a lot happening in this movie, but do these events have any connection with the main plot?
Well, there's mafia showing up at the restaurant where Steven's fiancée works.
Why are you running?
She probably senses an approaching blade of justice for sneaking on mafia on behalf of great Steven.
Alex, I don't feel sorry for her.
Meanwhile, the Aikido master gathers his friends he just met, a tattoo master and a girl from his seafood, and together they head to visit the Chinese gangster. Why is he slapping that guy like a girl?
Well, his martial arts is called Wing Chun Li, and Steven is master at it.
All I see in this shake-up is silly arm waving.
It just seems that way because it's stunt double fighting right now. Seagal does a way better job.
No, the action star is jerking his arms and puffing up his cheeks.
I don't think he's puffing them up.
Finally, this circus ends up with the usual pushing of the opponent. Seafood could have started with it, actually. After dealing with the Chinese mafia, he meets this smartphone in the shape of a human. This guy always appears wherever Sensei is to tell him the latest news.
Travis, we found Nayako. She's dead.
Donnie, I think you were more upset about the death of the bride than the groom himself.
It's not surprise for him. He goes around systematically taking down the international syndicate.
Yeah, everyone knows everything about him because he didn't bother with a superhero mask or any flashy costume.
He did put on a flashy costume.
And he always sends his girlfriend to spy on ruthless gangsters. What could possibly go wrong? And now when Tattoo Master finally gets motivation for revenge on behalf of his sister, he transforms into a loyal servant of the Shadow Star Ninja. He opens the gates of the villain's lair, saving Steven from walking an additional 10 meters. He also pulls a massive suitcase with this gigantic gun we saw on the movie poster.
Don't even dream about seeing it in action. Sensei prefers to fight in an old school, traditional way.
Why not? Anyway, the Japanese mafia still uses old swords as their main weapons against walls. Traditionally, opponents don't use anything against Seagal though. They simply wait for him to chop them up or stick some chopsticks into their necks. So when the mafia boss shoots the tattoo artist with a pistol, he is left in a state of shock. However, when Seagal appears, the Yakuza boss conveniently forgets about his gun and desperately tries to protect himself from Big Papa using shouts and a box of papers.
That's it, Alex. The movie is over.
Wait, we still got 10 minutes more. We didn't see Seagal cleverly flicking ashes between little boxes. Some people trained to make origami out of napkins. Okay, here we go. Now Steven is happy.